Hi, Eloise here. This week I want to talk about wounds. Hey, Eloise Ansell here. I am an intuitive healer based in the UK. Hello, welcome to my channel. If you're new, welcome back. If you've been here before. Um, so the topic came up to talk about wounds. Now, I don't mean the wounds when we cut ourselves and we heal our skin. I'm talking about deeper wounds, trauma, like deep things that have cut us, and we're either holding in the mind or in the body as trauma, and these things can linger and live with us for decades and decades. I was talking to a friend today who I've done a lot of healing work with over the years, and she was saying that she's been going back to, incidents from her lives and trauma times that she thought she'd dealt with, but she was going back to it again, just from a different angle, like just going in a different, slightly different route, because there were still things she hadn't seen there, and there were things that need to be healed. And this is what our wounds are kind of for. It's like they're there to help us heal. Um, Weirdly, you can have like 100 people experience the same trauma, like, and it'll be like a curve of how much everyone's affected by it. And randomly, some people will define their whole life by that event and that trauma. And other people are like, nah, and they move on with their lives. And it's always interesting to me how some things are more sticky to us. It like causes a wound and other things aren't. And that could be past lives. It could be, we came into this lifetime wanting to experience that wound, or we want to heal something, and that wound kind of gives us a charge or some way in to look at that aspect of our psyche or our belief systems or whatever. And I wouldn't call myself an expert in this field, but having worked with clients over the years, I see people sometimes not want to go near their wounds. They don't want to go there at all. And in clinics, sometimes I'm gently working on a wound for someone without us even mentioning what it is. Like, I get a felt sense we're going to something, and maybe it's something they haven't told me about, and I can check in, and their body's like, mm-mm, we're not going to talk about this. We're just going to clear it. And that's always fascinating. So we don't actually have to kind of dig around in it to heal it sometimes. I don't know if you've ever experienced, just generally, if you're doing a lot of healing work, sometimes things just disappear and you're like, where did that go? Like I used to have, and I have a whole history of events around water and issues with water. And so I used to, like, until about the age of 5, I was absolutely fine. I was like swimming like a dolphin in the sea. And then some events happened and some other events happened, and then that kind of escalated. And now I kind of have a love-hate relationship with the sea. I live near it. I love staring at it. I will get in it on a calm, warm day, but I don't really, it's not my thing. It's not something that I'm drawn to do. Whereas my sister loves swimming. She's done the channel and everything else. So, like, here's an example of two siblings of a completely different relationship with water. And it's, our wounds sometimes, or history that causes problems. Now, I used to be terrified of water, like literally terrified. And some time that just disappeared. And I actually went sailing. This was ages ago. And I was like, this is really weird. I'm fine. Like, I knew I would be, but I was still shocked that I was okay doing this thing that would have terrified me like a year beforehand. And like all the fear had gone. But I never went to that wound, that trauma in a healing session to resolve it. It just disappeared. And I knew it had been dealt with, but it was really interesting to observe that. Now, do I still love water? No, but I respect it, and have this kind of love-hate relationship, but the terrifiedness has gone, if that makes sense. So my relationship with water is a lot better, and there's probably still more we could do around that wound, but who knows? But anyone looks at my astrology chart, they're always like, don't go out your depth in water. I'm like, no, I've got that one, don't worry. Like, it's written everywhere. It's like, maybe that's why I'm wearing blue today. I don't know, but it's really interesting. So sometimes we go to a wound and we dig in there and we heal it. Sometimes we have to keep coming back and looking at it from different angles and working on different aspects of it. And then sometimes we can work on it without even going there, or the therapist or the practitioner's going there, and the client doesn't need to kind of drag it all back up again. Because sometimes if we have trauma that we've experienced, if we're constantly talking about it, we're kind of constantly reliving it. And sometimes that's a kind of unhealthy attachment to it almost. And then it's harder to kind of break free from it when we're constantly going over it and over it and over it and talking about it constantly. So, there's so many different modalities out there that can help you deal with your wounds, with your trauma. And I think when the time is right, the right person turns up and you're like, yeah, I want to look at this now, or when your body mind is ready, it brings it up somehow so that it's back in your face and you go, okay, I need to look at this. So there can be many reasons and timing around when wounds come up and when they want to be healed and when we're ready to look at them. And we need the support around us to deal with it. And for me, in a gentle way, it's like I always think with a wound with a band-aid, sometimes it feels like you're rubbing salt in the wound and you're like really making it hurt. And you can put the band-aid, the plaster over it, and then you can either kind of slowly pull it off or just tear it off. So our wounds, we all have them. Like there's kind of like, it doesn't matter even if you've had a pristine, beautiful life with an amazing upbringing and nothing traumatic's happened to you, you'll probably still find a wound somewhere, like something will have triggered you. And it could be that it makes absolutely no sense. There could be a past life thing. I know people that have been scared of dogs from the day they're born, and it's like, well, why? Because like their parents aren't scared of dogs, they haven't had an experience with them yet. Where's that fear come from? So is it coming from a past life or a trauma of some kind? We're just picking it up from the ether. It's almost like when we come into the world, we kind of scoop up some crap. We come into our life with those wounds, and some of them won't even be ours. So they could be past lives, or they could be ancestral stuff. They could just be general things in group consciousness that need to be healed and seen. So we can get wounds that aren't even ours that we have to deal with. And everybody probably has some of those quirky things. And it's like me and water. It's in my astrology chart. I've had some really interesting experiences that weren't particularly pleasant in my early years. And did I attract those because I already had the stickiness for that? And so my life was looking for a way of having some trauma around water in order to, in this lifetime, maybe work on it. I don't know. And then I just constantly lived by water. I used to live by the Thames, and now I live by the sea. And I was born by the sea. Like, I mean, like, I'm constantly around water, so it's kind of fun. But yeah, we all have wounds and trauma, and for me, it's like looking for those opportunities to clear and balance it in a very gentle way. And you will know when the right person or the right healer, therapist, counselor, whatever is, is around. And try people out as well. I often find some of my clients who book in with me see other therapists, and quite often they're like, oh, I've been working with this person for ages and I just not getting anywhere. I'm not really gelling with them. I don't like them. And I'm like, well, find someone else. It's important that we feel seen and heard, and that we like feel like we're being kind of, for me, like scooped up and held while we're going on these journeys into our wounds. It's very important. So one of my favorite outside of my normal healing sessions of working with wounds is using the compassion key, which is the work by Edward Mannix. And I've been a compassion key circle master practitioner for a while now. And I love doing this type of work. And sometimes we get into the wounds with working in this way. And we're doing self-directed compassion. So it's a way of going in and seeing where the where the stickiness is, and kind of clearing the stickiness so that maybe we don't attract more situations around something. Or sometimes we'll get into the wound, or we'll go back into where it came from. It might not even be this lifetime. So it's a beautiful way of clearing some of that. And some of it times it can be karmic. Certainly if I look at my astrology chart and what people have said around it, I'm like, definitely feels like water is a karmic little blip for me. So it's a really nice way of gently clearing our wounds. And yeah, it's pretty powerful. Now, in the past, I've offered like one session, and I still do for people that have done a lot of work with me, but I tend to find one isn't quite enough. Sometimes that brings things up, and we almost need a couple of sessions, a minimum of 3, I'd say, in order to start clearing things in a nice, gentle way. Sometimes I think if people book one session, their body mind's like, oh, I've got to clear all of this in this one session, and then it just gets a bit much. So I like doing, like, either it's weekly or once a fortnight, doing sessions to keep working and keep clearing. And we can use the compassion key for any issue or problem you have. You don't have to come with a trauma or a wound. We could be looking at improving relationships, or your money blocks, or all kinds of different things. And sometimes you just turn up for the session and just something's in your face, and it's like, okay, we'll look at this today. So it's very beautiful, lovely way of working. Now, I love doing the compassion key sessions. I don't talk about them that much, and it's done over Zoom, so you get to sit down with me, and normally lasts about 45 minutes up to about an hour a session. Tend to find that's enough time to do some, nice clearing. And I always find we don't want to do too much because we'll wipe you out. So it's a good amount of time just to sit down, see what's going on, do some healing, clear some of that stickiness or whatever it is that's coming up to be seen in that day, and gently kind of clear all these layers. So it came to me yesterday that, as we start June 2024, I'm going to make an offer to everyone. So if you want to book 3 compassion key sessions just to try it out, test it out, clear some of your wounds or your stickiness, I'm going to be offering it at the cheapest rate ever. So take advantage if you want to book some time in. Now, obviously, I can't do 100 of you. So I always say if you book them, use them within 3 months. If you can, commit to doing the 3 like weekly, that would be awesome. But obviously, I can't fit everyone in on the planet. So I will turn this offer off once I hit a kind of threshold. We'll see. So it may be that if you all suddenly book, I may have to like spread you out a little bit over the summer. But yeah, I'm going to make an offer for the whole of June. So if you want to book sessions, and you can book 6 sessions or 9 sessions if you want to at the discounted rate, but in blocks of 3, and that is going to enable us to spend up to 3 hours together, really diving into this work and doing some beautiful healing. And then you can, decide if it's something that you want to explore more, or, if you want to pay now and do them later in the year, that's fine too. If you want to take advantage of the discount, but you're away for the next few weeks or months, just, let me know. Uh, but it's such a beautiful volume of work, and it's something that I really love working with. And yeah, the energy's here to make everyone an offer. So take advantage of it if you want to work on some stuff. You can go to the page, have a read around the Compassion Key work, and you can see some testimonials from some of my clients and students, and yeah, see if it sings to you. And if you want to get rid of some of that stickiness with me, you're more than welcome to. If not, go and find someone else to help you with that journey. The more we get rid of this stickiness and we clear our wounds, the more kind of whole we are. It feels like we're, kind of sticking ourselves back together. And that's an analogy I like. It's like we become more and more whole. We can be more present with ourselves and our bodies in this life without all this mind chatter and drama and trauma that's running the show. So if it calls to you, follow the link, have a look, and sign up. This will be a one-off, by the way. I'm not going to do this again. So jump on now if you wanna do it. Anyway, wishing you a beautiful week. I will catch up with you next Monday. Take care. Bye. Oh, and if you want to subscribe, feel free. It's free,